right, horror fans, or I should say haunted house industry, we're here with another version of Hauntworld the movie. Now keep in mind, I think there's 19 of these. So we're uploading all 19 Hauntworld the movies. And in case you're not aware, Hauntworld the movies were made back in the late 90s and through the early 2000s. And it was a way to document the haunted house industry. Remember, this is before YouTube. This is before they had all the ways to share media. So we're going to show you Hauntworld the movie, part 6. We're gonna have a tour with Kevin McCurdy out at Kevin McCurdy's Haunted Mansion. Lance Pope, who's no longer with us. We're gonna take a tour part of his haunted house and see his fireworks show that he was famous for. We're also having another segment from Dr. Lady. And I had Robert Englund come to visit the Darkness Haunted House, and it just so happened that Ricky Dick from Castle Blow is here, so I had Ricky Dick interview Robert Englund. So Robert Englund, Freddy Kruger, is on this video, and he does an interview. We also have an interview with Avon Warren, who has a haunted house, and it's called Frightland. And he also had a fire, and you're gonna see his part of his whole haunt catch on fire and burn to the ground. We also have like a little segment from an attraction called Fright Castle. We have scare tips on this video that I think I did myself. And then you're also gonna see behind the scenes, the makeup department of Not Scary Farm. Probably the only way you're ever gonna see classic footage of Not Scary Farm is right here on the Hauntworld channel. So we're gonna take you to Not Scary Farm, and you're gonna see a lot of cool stuff behind the screens. So make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. We are doing this for fun. We're trying to document the haunted house industry and some of the coolest attractions in the entire world. We're also gonna be visiting other new attractions along with all these old ones. So make sure you like and subscribe right now to our channel. We are doing this for the industry. And now, here we go. Hauntworld the movie part 6. This was filmed in the 2000s, so we're getting closer to present day. Can you believe it? I'm doing another one of these tapes. I can't believe it.
I mean, we've made 6 of these things. You would think at some point you got to call it quits. I mean, for real. Material's getting thin. You know, we had to let all of our writers go because the budget was getting low, and I just have this notebook pad with a couple things written on it, and hopefully we can make a tape. I don't know. And you guys let me know if we did a good job on somehow. Write me letters or something, I don't know. But we're here again for Hauntworld Part 6. And we're just going to make the best of it. And I really don't have anything to talk about. Hey Jim, I think this tape runs for 2 hours, doesn't it?
Pretty sure.
Hello! That's not interesting. There's always the Rams. They won the Super... Did you guys know the Rams won the Super Bowl?
Go.
See you. Oh, wait a minute. I have a few things to talk about. Actually, that whole beginning was for 2 reasons. Number one, it's for all those doubters that we can't continue this series beyond part 6 or beyond part 5 or whatever. And the other reason was because we wanted all those people that were bored and sick and tired of learning about good stuff in the haunted house business to go away. So it would just be you and me, you know, friends. So now we're just down to the friends, and all the non-believers have gone away. So anyway, now that we're down to just the friends of Hauntworld.com, let's move into this tape. What is the future of this series? Well, next year, Halloween Productions is going to produce a videotape called The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Own Haunted House, and we've also committed to doing another tape about home haunting. So we got those 2 things in the works, so maybe there will be another Hauntworld Part 7, but with, as you saw at the beginning of this tape, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. We've gone so far. There may not be one. We'll have to wait and see. We need better writers, and we don't have a lot to pay. So you let us know. Anyway, let's start off this segment with a good friend of mine, Kevin McCurdy. I had the chance to interview him at the Halloween show last year, and this is what he had to say.
Hi, I'm Kevin McCurdy, and we're here at the Chicago Convention. It's our first year displaying here. We actually got into the business 23 years ago with the Haunted Mansion in Poughkeepsie, New York. We now have 2 attractions, the Haunted Mansion and Fright Trail, which is our outdoor attraction. It's a walking trail in the woods. We've, like I said, been in business now for 23 years. We change our haunted house completely, and each year the public gets a completely new show. I started actually 4 years prior to that when I was just a kid in the basement. And when I was about 15 years old, believe it or not, I went to a county park and asked if I could use their building to do a haunted house. And it was a simple little letter saying, can I do that? The park said yes, and now 23 years later, we're still doing it. We have our own building. We put 2 additions on our newest building, latest building, and we've developed a whole trail and done all the work ourselves. We do all the construction, the carpentry, the electric, and so forth. As a sort of a side project to this, I do scenery. I'm a theatrical artist, and I do scenery for a lot of off-Broadway shows, Broadway shows. I worked on the original Phantom of the Opera and the more Yeston version of the Phantom of the Opera. And that's my background. And that's what we pride ourselves in, is focus on detail and creating an atmosphere, whatever our theme may be. If I had to name 5 things that I think that shows are lacking, I would have to say, and I'm not excluding myself in this, are costumes, talent, meaning the actors, attention to detail, because that's my kind of thing, and I'm up to 3. Let's see. Then I would say sound and lighting. I know we've tried to make great improvements on our sound in the past few years. We've had some original music composed for us, and I think sound has a lot to do with creating atmosphere. Now, as far as numbers, we're not a high throughput haunted house. We have a totally different look on it. For the past 23 years, we've been doing a house that is more on the theatrical end. We present a show. Whatever theme that we have that year, we base a whole story around it so that people actually go through and are an interactive part of that story. Certainly this would not work for all attractions. If you have a high throughput attraction, getting a lot of numbers through there, and you got to keep them running, this would not work. But I think if you have any kind of a line outside in the queue area, even if you do have a show that people are, basically running from front to back, you could tell a story in the pre-show area. So maybe you could utilize your theming or your show while people are waiting in line. We do this through the use of video and characters walking in a queue line. If people want to, try this sort of approach to it, you certainly would expect long lines. We found that in our area, in our audience, is expecting that from us year after year, and they don't mind to come down and wait 3 hours in line. We have outside entertainment. We present a full night of entertainment for them. So I actually got some email last year saying, geez, it was too quick. We wanted to wait a little bit longer. But that's our audience, and it's certainly not for everybody.
You're the man. Not the man.
We try to stay fresh and creative each year, and each year it takes us about a year to think up our new theme, what we want to do next. Of course, after about 400 different rooms, sometimes it can be a real struggle. We try to get our inspirations from the story. I mean, we try to actually think of the story first, and then the scares and the room ideas come from the story. So that's where we start. Story ideas can be anything from a movie that we've seen to an original story. In the past few years, we've written original stories for our house. Different concepts, where we want to take it. We had gone back to being a haunted house. We haven't done a Victorian house in a few years. We wanted to do that. We developed a whole story about a man who invented a machine to contact the dead. Then when we started plotting out, where that story would take us and how it would be related to the audience. But each year, of course, I get bored a lot, so I guess that's why I change it. But we do change the complete house from front to back, and I think it's very exciting to do something new every year. Certainly, our audience again has been sort of spoiled by that, and they want it fresh and new every year now. But even if you're changing 1 or 2 rooms in your attraction each year to keep it fresh, it's really important. But we're inspired a lot by just our imagination, and sometimes, like I say, it's It's a lot of work, but it's certainly worth it in the end, and we have a lot of fun doing it. Well, the past couple years, we put out a couple volumes of different videotapes to try to teach people how to do detailing. I come from a background of being a real Disney fanatic, and of course, you know, there's nobody greater than Disney when it comes to detailing. I've studied a lot of their attractions over the years. I still do, and that's sort of my thing. I have a background in being a scenic artist, so I've worked on a lot of shows which require the need for detail. So, but if you take a look at things and try to create the total atmosphere. If you're looking at a room and you're trying to do a haunted library, where would you start? Well, of course, you need books. What else would be in a library? You have to ask yourself all kinds of questions. You could take a trip to a local historic site that has a library. If you want a Victorian library, go and take a look at these things. You gotta get out and look at the real things and see what's important to sort of emulate in your rooms. Are you going to go as crazy as putting titles on all the books in your library? You got a lot of spare time, I suppose you could do that. But what's important? What is the audience going to see? If they don't see it, don't do it. But if they're going to pick up on a small detail up here in the front and not in the back, then you do the one in the front. Anything to give the illusion of realism. And that's, I say, if the set is real looking, then they'll believe anything that you're going to try to present to them in that atmosphere. So we're big on atmosphere. Now, you don't want to get wrapped up in doing too much detail, so you lose the scare. But that's why you have to stick with your original concept when you're laying it out and designing your house, to come up with this is the way we do it. We come up with the story, then we come up with the scare, then we design the room. And if the scare is not in there, then you're losing the whole point of it. So the scare has to be developed into the as well as the detail. Don't lose sight of that. And certainly, if you are the person doing the detail, then your time should be spent doing that, and you should have enough people in your organization so that the rooms are planned out and people are working on scares and somebody is working on detail. You can hire a great painter to do some nice paintings for you, however you want to do it, but keeping the concept of the scare from the beginning, following through with that, is something you shouldn't lose sight of. Some of the rooms that we've had in the past certainly have been great on detail, and all of a sudden the scare's not there. And we've learned the hard way as far as that. Now, I am guilty of that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this segment of the tape. Now let's take a look at some of the other things we did here at the Haunted Mansion.
That's the Baron Sameti, get it right. And welcome to Terror Town, my amusement park. And I'm here to tell you what happened back then, gonna happen again. Because I need a new group of souls. Yours will do. Don't look so glum. We're a fun house. We'll have some fun. I'll use my voodoo, I'll bring the place alive. Make you a wager. You make it past my fiendish fiends. Without showing fear, your lives and souls to keep. Show the least bit of fear, I'll see you at the end and collect your debt. I know your fears. Some fear the clowns, some fear the vampires, some fear the cemeteries. They all wait inside, so let the games begin.
There you are. I didn't frighten you so soon. Besides, how can someone be frightened of a clown? All these happy little fellows cheer you up when you're down. always have toys. There are lots of fun. Let's see what's behind door number 1. I didn't frighten you so soon. Besides, how can someone be frightened of the clown?
Intruders must be eliminated. Intruders must be eliminated. Level 2 sidewalk. Please respond. Assistance required. Level 1. Eliminate intruders. Assistance required. Level 1. Eliminate intruders.
Destroyed. Command received.
Intruders are disabled.
As most of you probably know, that there's a haunted house association. They have an internet website, which you'll find on hauntworld.com. It's like 150 or so haunted house owners, and they've all got together and they've created this association. And a lot of wonderful things can be learned from other people. So I suggest that you go check it out and see what you think. And you'll find the link again on hauntworld.com. And as you know, I'm all for everybody learning as much as they can from each other. And if you feel like this is a way that you could learn more information, I highly suggest that you join and join the party. Now, let's see, what else we got? Lance Pope, another good friend of mine, who, by the way, was attacked by a lion last year. Yes, he did survive, and no, his body parts were not used in his haunted house. I know that's a rumor going around, but no, it's not true. All of Lance's body parts are human. They're not latex. I just wanted to clear that up. So anyway, in all seriousness, Lance is a very fun guy, and he's just he just loves Halloween, and you can't say enough about this guy. His haunted house, he lives it every day. And he sent me this footage of his haunted house. Last year we featured his Verdun Manor, and you got to see how that was all put together and everything. And he created another haunted house, which was in a tent. We have a little bit of footage of that, but one of the things I want to show you is, remember in the last tape I was talking about the, surviving 2000 and different tips to try to, move you along to make you different from your competitors. Well, one of the things that Lance does every single night that he's open is he has this gigantic fireworks show, which is unbelievable. He spends a few $1,000s a night to end the haunted night with a fireworks show. So we're going to take a look at that, and I know you're not going to believe what you're seeing, but yes, he does do this every night that he's open. So let's take a look at that footage at Lance Pope's Verdun Manor.
There is a place where your nightmares are given flesh and made real. Haunted Verdun Manor at Thrillvania. I, Baron Verdun, dare you to visit our new home, 25 miles east of Dallas, just south of Terrell at Wilson Road and Interstate 20. Our gates open at dusk on September 27th and will be open Thursday through Sunday nights through Halloween. For more frights, we also offer Sam Haines Hayride at the same location. Call 214-559-5779 for more information. We're just dying to greet you.
At the turn of the century, the psychopathic Baron Michael Verdun built a strange, twisted house on Voodoo Bayou. Verdun, being a werewolf himself, sought to release the beast in all men. Deep within the recesses of his manor, he conducted cruel, painful experiments on people abducted by his vampiric wife, Cassandra. It wasn't long before old, familiar stories began to be told about Verdun and his bride, and what went on inside the manor. Eventually, the angry townsfolk stormed the mansion. Verdun and Cassandra were killed and buried in unmarked graves in front of the house. Years later, Verdun Manor was sold to a wealthy landowner, Vincent Carruthers. No mention was made of the house's terrible secrets. On Halloween, under the eerie light of a full moon, the caretaker of the mansion investigated what sounded like a wolf's howl. He didn't have time to scream. The townspeople, in their ignorance of werewolves and vampires, did not execute Verdun and Cassandra properly. The mansion was packed that night with friends and business associates of Vincent Carruthers for a dinner party. When Verdun hurled himself through the dining room window, the drunken guests could hardly believe this wolf beast was real. But Verdun quickly established the fact. Carruthers, his family, and guests were never found. But it is said that they remain in the house still. If you must know what happened to those who entered this place, go and see for yourself.
Y'all come to brave Granny Lupus's Voodoo Bayou, huh? Well, good luck to you. You'll be needing it. If and you're smart, you'll hightail out of here before you get to that mansion. Old Baron Verdun's got dumb humans on the menu. Now you watch out for the gators now. You hear?
Last year we had the privilege of Robert Englund making a stop here at the Darkness Haunted Screen Park and here in St. Louis. Let me tell you, I've tried to get Robert Englund to come to our haunted house for 3 years. He's like very hard to get. He heard a lot of great things about our haunted house, so he came down. He was by far the most, he just loves to talk. He loves to be interviewed. He loves to meet his fans, and it was very important to him. And while he was here, oddly enough, Ricky Dick was here. He had made the drive down in his hearse, believe it or not, and he was here. And since he was here, I had Ricky Dick interview Robert Englund and apologize for some of the whiteout on Robert Englund's face and all this, but I think that he had a lot of really interesting things to say about the horror business and haunted houses in general. So let's slide on over and take a look at the interview with Ricky Dick and Robert Englund, also known as Freddy Kruger.
Hi, I'm Ricky Dick, the mortal guise of Gravely Macabre from Castle Blood, and I'm here at the Darkness Haunted Theme Park with what has to be the nicest guy you could ever be afraid of.
I know the answer to this question.
That's right, it's Robert Englund, Freddy Kruger.
And Willie from V.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I've noticed when I've been at attractions that you've been at, that you really seem to like to take a lot of time with the fans and really answer questions. Is this really fun for you?
Well, you know, I used to do this a lot more, especially sort of when V and the first couple of Nightmares dovetailed. I was out on the road a lot more, doing not only publicity, local publicity, but also doing haunted houses and various science fiction, horror, and fantasy conventions. But now I only do it maybe once a year, usually around the Halloween season. It's great for me because it gives me a chance to see the fans after a year of doing fan mail and doing other projects and kind of like telling them the truth, because there's a lot of rumor out there now about various projects that are going out in Hollywood, and so I can kind of like tell them the truth at least up until that moment, up until October of any given year. And also I get to meet the fans. And what's been great on this particular trip to St. Louis, last night we were out at the news site, and I saw at least 3 Freddy Kruger toys that I've never seen before. And I've been around the block with this character now for a while, but I saw a couple of things I had never seen before. And I'm thinking one of them might have even been a custom local artist who had produced a limited edition of these
resin kits.
Yeah, really nice, really tasty. They look like they're like the late 80s Japanese kits, but smaller.
I saw a lot of original artwork that you were signing for people last night. People bringing posters, all their figures. It's quite
well, I love that, and actually, it's not. I'd rather make it personal for them to keep in their own collections, because a lot of times people give me gifts when I'm on the road, and it's really hard for me to travel back with. It's wonderful when I get them in the mail and I can stick them in my frame up and put them up in my office at home. But sometimes when I'm on the road, people want to give me gifts, and it's really hard to schlep that all back. You know, if I'm catching a plane the next day or something. But there was a great one last night that I think my agent would have loved, and it was strange for me because it was a pickup truck at a drive-in movie watching a Nightmare on Elm Street sequence on the screen. But what was remarkable about it was it also looked like an image from my very first movie, Buster and Billy. There's a famous sort of contrived bat shot in that of a pickup truck with Jan Michael Vincent and Pamela Sue Martin making out in the pickup truck watching an old Tarzan movie, you know, and it looked exactly like that sequence, except instead of Tarzan, it was Freddy Krueger.
And lately, in the past couple years, you've been doing a lot of smaller parts in a whole variety of movies, I noticed. Strange Land and Mangler was not a small part.
I was actually on location doing a Disney movie all summer in Sundance, Park City, and with Dennis Hopper. And, you know, I do other kinds of work besides the horror genre, and I did this family film for Disney, and I've been there all summer long, and I got this call. You know, it's real hard now to turn down independents, and not only was it that I was anxious to meet Dee Snider, and I know that both Dee and Alice Cooper are fans of mine, but I've always wanted to work with Elizabeth Pena, and I've loved her since Ruthless People, but more recently Lone Star. I just thought she was great in. And on top of that, the same people that made Strangeland, the independent outfit out of New York, they have no money, but they're some really talented people, and they're the people that did Sling Blade. So it was real easy for me to drive from on location in Sundance, Park City, Utah, just a little ways further into Colorado, and we shot that in Colorado Springs. It was also fun to hang out with Dee Snider. So what's fun about having the money from Freddy and the success from Freddy now is I can say yes to these things at the drop of a hat, when I feel like it, so I can do some smaller parts or independents. I helped out my buddies from KNB with Wishmaster a couple of years ago, and that was actually quite successful on both video and still running prime time on Showtime and HBO and on weekends, which is sort of their prime time airing time. And it was great because those guys have been with me for years. I mean, a few people realize that they sort of put some of their profits back into the company and they were optioning screenplays, and they literally optioned Quentin Tarantino From Dusk Till Dawn way back in the 80s. And these are really smart guys, Howard Berger and Greg Nicotero and everybody, and it was my pleasure to do that, and be able to help those guys out. And they did a sequel too. I think they got Andrew, or a prequel with Andrew Divoff. He's also a great guy. I took Andrew over to Brussels for the Science Fiction Fantasy Festival over there, which is I'd avoided for years because I didn't want to think there was anything to see in Brussels. I finally went, and it's a great festival. I mean, amazing amount of illustrators attend that as well because they're so hot for, especially cartooning illustration over in Belgium. They love it because the fans go nuts for it. But it's fun for me because I'm a bit of a collector myself, and the European posters over there are an exaggerated size. They're larger and they're a little more graphic, and they're allowed to put a little more sex in them than here in the States. So it's fun for me sometimes just to go over there and pick up a poster for Patricia Arquette, or to pick up a poster for somebody else. It's a poster that's not released in the States, but a really great poster. The girl that played Tina in the first Nightmare, Amanda Wiss. I saw a poster of her over there all sexy with a pointer bra on and everything, with blood coming out of the corner of her mouth for some nice little vampire film she made that was really big in Europe. Didn't do so well in the States. But the posters for it, I mean, it's the kind of thing that you wish you had when you were a kid, It's like just this great image of her. It looked better than the posters, for an Anne Rice production, So it was great being able to, I got it for cost me about $10 American, and all I had to do was buy a tube to mail it back to the States with. So it's fun for me to go on the road and do those things as well as doing the things here in the States.
So you say you're a collector. I've also seen interviews with you where you've talked about your childhood and Halloween and everything. Do you have any thoughts on how this industry, because you really know what's going on in the haunted industry?
Well, I think it's great. And last night I was signing the autographs, and what was great was they had not only the new trailers for the new horror movies coming out, and for things that are out now on DVD and video and on cable, but they also had some great classic trailers, which I think is good because I think it's important for the fans to know that the world didn't begin with Jaws, or the world didn't begin with The Exorcist. There's a lot of great stuff before that, You and I are old enough to remember a really wonderful, imaginative ad campaign for Rosemary's Baby and films like that. But even further back to not only the classic movies of the 30s, but there's some fun stuff in the 40s and 50s too that I think it's time for especially the young fans to acquaint themselves with the history. See, you and I had, and others, we had Famous Monsters magazine and some of those. And I know Fangoria and those guys, they do some really great retro articles about Hammer films and things like that. But I still think it's important, for the younger fans to sort of get a sense of the history, because I wanted to realize that a lot of stuff that's being done is borrowed from some great stuff that was done before. I was in Spain recently shooting a movie, and it was a great bag of old Spanish vampire movies that are a lot of fun too, and they were like the first ones that really introduced sex and vampirism. People tend to think it was, it's all started with Anne Rice or something like that, but it happened a long time ago.
So since we're at a haunted house and it is Halloween time, and you're one of the experts of the movies of that, do you see a difference in what scares people in the movies, what scares people in real life, or what scares people even at haunted attractions? Do they all blend together, or is it really a different experience, so you need different things?
Well, with the advent of special effects and the sophisticated CGI that's going on now in films, combined with a kind of an MTV edit, a jump cut kind of editing that's going on, I think too many times now, people are relying on that kind of knee-jerk reaction to just that sort of by the bit kind of editing into a sequence. And I think that what's we've been seeing now with the success of Sixth Sense is that psychological terror, and by taking our time and getting to know the characters, or at least to immerse ourselves in the moment, the reality, the sustained reality and moment of the situation of jeopardy. I think that we need to take advantage of that more. It's sort of going back to that kind of Hitchcock way of dealing with suspense. Because I think now we're sort of reacting to horror on an editorial level, much like we react to a video on MTV. And it's not really from the heart, it's just we're just sort of conditioned to respond in that kind of rhythmic way. And I think one of the things that Sixth Sense did was sort of do a change-up on that for everybody. Let people give people a chance to breathe and contemplate the jeopardy and the horror and the significance of the situation that the character was in or that you could be in. And I think that, like, maybe for some of the haunted houses, along with the great, wonderful cheap thrill, and along with seeing the familiar characters, whether it's Leatherface or a vampire, or Freddy, or a ghoul from a Romero film jump out at you, which is kind of fun and familiar and part of the experience, it could be interesting for somebody to concoct a real kind of sensory deprivation kind of haunted house, maybe, where people can't predict, where it hasn't been predicted before. I know I had attended a relative's elementary school a couple of years ago in Northern California, and all the fathers had done a haunted house there. And one of the things they had done there was really take advantage of the tactile. And they had simply peeled grapes and strung grapes on strings in one little corridor, but there was absolutely no light. And when you walk through that, the feeling of grapes, peeled grapes on string that had been sprayed just with, like, a spritzer of water, it was, I mean, where your imagination went with what that could be, whether it was the mucus from an alien, whether it was strung guts. I mean, it was a really strange sensation. It cost nothing, so simple. But at that point in that journey, with deprived of light, and wasn't that, we didn't know we weren't going to turn a corner and see the guillotine or the obligatory, high school kid dressed up as a ghoul. It just made people, it really creeped people out, and people really freaked out. They had to change it. It came down, the PTA, and everything. But I always love it when the PTA complains, because you're on the right track.
I got a question for you, since you must go through a lot of haunted attractions. Have you, even if it's just a startle scare, have you ever been scared by Freddy Kruger?
And you're not getting a fresh story here, but I have told the story a lot, but it's the truth. The only time was on the making of the first one. I took a nap. We were trying to get the last bit of darkness as opposed to the last daylight in a sequence, and I had the Freddy makeup on. I was probably only 3 or 4 weeks into the shoot, and I rolled my towel up real tight like a Japanese pillow, and I was all basted like a turkey with my KY jelly, and I laid down. I didn't want to smear my makeup, and nothing was left on in my little trailer dressing room except the ghosting dimmed light bulbs around my makeup mirror. And a guy knocked on the door and said, Mr. Englund, wake up. This is the assistant director. We're ready for you. We're going to try to get this shot before the sun comes up. It was kind of the hour of the wolf, just before dawn. And it could still look dark on film. And I sat up with that kind of stale breath you have after a little short 40-wink nap, and I looked across my trailer dressing room from me into the makeup mirror with the light bulbs dimmed down on it, and in that ghosty light, half conscious from my little nap, with my bad breath kind of permeating the reality, I saw an old, bald, deformed, disfigured man looking back at me. And he moved every way I moved. And for a few seconds, I was completely disoriented, and it scared the bejesus out of me. And I still remember that moment and seeing myself in the forced perspective of that mirror. And I would probably dream about that once every year or two, because it was so disorienting. It really affected me. But that's the only time Freddy's ever scared me.
And because that happens to you, does it give you a different view of what Freddy does to other people?
Well, no, again, that's why I come to places like this, because occasionally I get a feedback. Last night, I'm out in the suburb of St. Louis, and this beautiful little goth girl comes up to me at about 11 at night, getting ready to pack up and leave. She's waited in line for 2 hours with a beautiful Japanese high-gloss photo of me from Phantom of the Opera. And she has related to Phantom of the Opera on a completely arch-romantic level. Almost like reading a great book, like Wuthering Heights affects some young teenage girls in the 40s or 50s. And that was a revelation to me. So that's why I come, to the haunted houses and do the science fiction and horror conventions, because I learn from the fans' mouth what really is working on that. And I would have never thought, because I always looked at that movie as kind of an homage that Dwight Little and I did to the Hammer films of the 60s, and it's kind of Grand Guignol at the end. Certainly it's very operatic, no pun intended, Phantom of the Opera, but it was just really phenomenal for me to realize that this gorgeous little sexy goth girl of 17 or 18 related to that was her Wuthering Heights, that movie. That was her arch romantic story. I'm honored when people mention my name in the same breath with certainly with Karloff and Lon Chaney, or Klaus Kinski, several others, but you know, I sort of have arrived at the point now where I really think I do have my foot in the door, and I am a genuine footnote. You know, I sort of became a kind of de facto Vincent Price, and I'm kind of having fun now because I'm doing a lot of guest star and featured and supporting roles now out of makeup, but in the Vincent Price tradition. You know, playing the mad scientist or the doctor. And sometimes I was talking today with Larry earlier, sometimes fulfilling that kind of classic red herring element, because I bring X amount of baggage with me to the role, having played Freddy in the Phantom of the Opera and the Mangler in various roles. So it's kind of fun to do those roles now, and because I'm getting older, it's nice because my age coincides with those parts, so I'm not really forcing anything. It's kind of fun to be able to kind of step in a little bit into Vincent's shoes, you know, and people tend not to mention Vincent, but I'm like, I gotta tell you, you know, I love all sorts of movies, and I'll turn on Laura just to watch Vincent Price cooking that, you know, because, you know, he did a lot of stuff before he ever did Dr. Phibes, you know, which
well, and there's
love,
always the great Rankin Bass Peter Cottontail,
Yes.
Vincent Price being Irontail,
Yes,
you know, those are the kind of great roles. You know, a lot of haunted attractions, actually most haunted attractions, will have an actor portraying Freddy. Some of them may be 13 years old and 5 foot tall, but most of them have one. Do you have any advice to all your little proteges out there?
2 words: more Vaseline.
You know, you can't go wrong with an interview that has more Vaseline and Patricia Arquette mentioned numerous times.
Yes.
Well, I think we have a great heir to the throne of the gentlemen of horror, Vincent Price and Boris Karloff, here with Robert, and I want to thank him very much for coming on to Hauntworld with us. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you.
It's my pleasure, and I got to tell you guys, this is such a great space. I just love what you've done with it, and I encourage everybody to come on down and get scared this season.
I wanted to make a plug for these CDs that were sent to me by Distortions. Ed from Distortions sent me these. These are things that he made, his company made, and they have about 63, 62, 63 sounds. This is probably the best collection of CDs that I've ever heard. That you can buy for sound effects. I know we've all gone out and bought sound effects CDs and stuff. This one is specifically for dark attractions, and it even says right on the back, dark attraction environmental sound effects. Now I've actually talked to some people that bought it, and a couple of people told me they didn't like them, and more than likely is because they didn't understand them. Okay, what you do with them is you take them and you're going to create sounds. You make endless loop tapes, and you have to layer things. Okay, you're going to have to go to somebody like a radio station or whatever, or buy it yourself, where you have 8 tracks or 16 tracks, and you layer it in. You put in a background sound, and then you put in a scream here or there or whatever, and you take CDs like these and you find sounds and you layer them in there so you can create what it is that will best suit the scene that the sound's going to be for. And I've talked to people that love these, and personally I think these are just, you can't do without them. And the neat thing about them is that when you buy them, you own the music. You can use it and make a tape like this and sell them, and it won't matter. The other CD I wanted to talk about was these guys from Midnight Syndicate. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. They have a CD called Born in the Night, and they got a new one coming out, and they have a website, and it is www.entityprod.com, entityprod.com. You can go into like Spencer's and stuff, and you'll see like their posters and stuff that they have, that they've made all these gothic posters and stuff, and they came out with this CD here. And let me tell you, they're very different from the ones from Distortions, because one of Distortions is sound effects and things like this. This CD is music, and I have never in my life heard a CD as good as this one. And I'm not just saying that. And as you'll see, that the Hauntworld Part 5 and 6 are using music from this CD, which they were gracious enough to allow us to do. And I mean, I cannot say enough good things about this CD, and I suggest that you buy them. And I mean, the titles, man, are like Haunted Nursery and Dark Tower, Lost Souls, Barn of the Night, Forbidden Crypts. I mean, this CD is just, it's gothic, and I love gothic music. And I mean, it rivals some of my favorite CDs from like Dead Can Dance and stuff like that. It's just marvelous, and you should check it out. Okay, we're back again, and this time we're going to cut away to Rich Hanf. Last year, as you know, we did the tapes, and he did the Fangoria show. Well, I went up there to the Fango show again, and a lot of people, I also went to the Fango show in LA, and one of the good things about going to a Fango show or a Chiller show is that there are a lot of celebrities. Some are untouchable, and some are very small. And you can meet these people and get to know them, and get their phone number, exchange a business card, and possibly have them come to your haunted house. So it's a good way to make contacts with people. And so I suggest that you go to the Fango show, but since you didn't get to go, because there wasn't hardly any haunters there, John Denley, you weren't there, I couldn't believe that, or Ed Gannon, which I was very upset about. But we did get a chance to bump into Avon Warren and his most articulate haunted house helper, and we're going to have an interview with him. And we got to interview the guy from Subspecies. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but we also got to interview Denise Duff, who's also from Subspecies. We got to talk to some interesting people, and let's take a look at the Fango 2000 show. Go ahead.
Well, let me see how I look first. Pause the thing, for Christ's sake. Okay, that'll work. I gotta make sure I look my best for Hauntworld. All right. 1, 3, 2, 1. Hey, we're here, back again at the Fango show for Hauntworld.com. This is Fango 2000. Standing here with Phil Miller from Frightland Haunted House in Delaware. Phil, how's it going? What are you doing here at Fango?
Hold on a second. Wait, let's start over.
Say it once and you can use those clips.
All right.
Honey, got my agent on the phone. 3, 2. Hey, here we are back at the Fango 2000 show, the first Fangoria show of the new century, of the new millennium. We're here for Hauntworld.com. I'm standing here with Phil Miller. Phil Miller from Frightland Haunted House in Delaware. Phil, how are you?
Great.
How's it going? What are you doing here at Fango?
Just walking around, looking at some stuff.
Well, listen to me, like you're selling, selling, my kind of guy. Anyway, Phil, if you don't know, writes a lot of the articles, I guess the more technically oriented articles. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
I know one of the most famous ones is the tricycle trauma, the kid without a head. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one and then expand on that and tell us a little bit about how you've come to do all the technical writing. Don't be shy, Phil, speak right up.
We got Andy Kaufman in the flesh here. He's doing the Mighty Mouse. Somebody play the Mighty Mouse track. Pretty soon he's gonna go, here I come to save the day.
Well, it started like this. Is tricycle trauma your favorite one?
It's fun. I have a lot of ideas.
Like what?
I never got to.
All right, tell us a couple ideas so guys like Larry can steal. What would you like to do that you haven't done already?
Oh, that would take all day.
Okay, we got some life on that battery.
One day I can take them off the top of my head.
Okay, well, thank you for this inspiring interview. Why don't we move over to Avon Warren? Perhaps he can elucidate a little bit more than Phil. Let's cut it right there.
We got Andy Kaufman in the flesh here. He's doing the Mighty Mouse. Somebody play the Mighty Mouse track. Pretty soon he's gonna go, here I come to save the day.
Well, it started like this.
You know why you're here.
All right, we're going to try it again. These Frightland guys are tough. This time I'm here with Avon Warren, and if he doesn't have the answers, nobody does. Now Phil's off camera. He's laughing, he's waving, having a great old time. Avon, tell us about what happened in Frightland this year.
Well, other than having a really big weenie roast, we had a good year. Our second weekend on Saturday night, our medium-sized barn caught on fire. And it was 45 minutes before we opened. We already had like 150 guests in line waiting to get in. It burned in like 15 minutes.
What did it do to the guests? Did it chase them away?
I think it hurt a little bit. Here's what hurt. There was absolutely zero news coverage that weekend. Nothing was going on but us. Every time I turn the TV on, it's like Frightland burns to the ground. So every time, all through the Saturday night, Sunday night, into Monday, we were the lead story on every channel. Well, not a lot happens in Delaware anyway. We're in.
Now, did you manage to recover?
Yeah, we did okay. But the fire marshal came out. We were cleared by midnight Saturday night to open back up. But we had such a mess. We lost the whole building and our concession stand. We had such a mess. We brought in dump trucks on Monday, got everything out of there. Friday night, if you pulled up, you never know there was a fire. So it takes about a week to get everything squared out.
You have insurance? Insurance help cover it?
We have personal liability for injury, astronomical, and very low on property.
Well, anyway, listen, I hear that you have tape of it, tape of the actual fire, so let's cut to the tape. We'll be right back with Avon Warren and the guys from Frightland.
Holy. Oh my God. It's gone. Oh my God.
Mom,
Oh, we
I
just-
don't know what.
Every night it's can't win for losing, can we? What? That's it. There's a spigot right there, and there's no water hose. Don't worry about it.
Who's explored with that? There's nothing they can do.
30 seconds is all it would have been.
Oh my God.
Me and Debbie were right there, and I said, what?
Still got the bad habit in my hand. Nothing.
Get out. And I screamed for whoever was like this way.
You guys were here, somebody. You should have heard Phil. We got to check out Ideally Manor. I mean, that is not safe. It's coming down. It's got to come down.
I just got it on.
Hey, Rich Hanf back with you. Hauntworld.com, havenwarren.com, frightland.com. We're all here.com and together. All right, we just saw some footage of the Frightland fire. Where are we going to go from here? Well, let's start with celebrity guests you had at your show this year. We'll turn it a little bit more positive. How about Jim O'Rear? Tell us about Jim O'Rear, the illustrious editor of Underground Entertainment magazine.
Well, Jim was there, let me tell you, he is a very good stage magician. We've got a crowd that's continually turning over, so you can't do your whole act in front of people.
Right.
You're 3/4 through, somebody's got to load the wagon and go. So you got to keep them short, not a lot of build-up. He was great. I would definitely recommend Jim to anybody who's thinking about bringing the magic out.
Now, there was recently a survey done on hauntworld.com, shameless plug-ola, and apparently Frightland, your haunted house, was voted the haunted house that most people in the industry would want to come out and visit. How do you feel about that? And who has come out to see it?
Well, I like it because on Hauntworld, of course, there's a lot of professionals, and when they're doing that, they're
not all of us, but some.
They're saying a lot of them are, and they're saying you're somebody they want to come out and see. We had Cliff Martin from Hacker House down in North Carolina. David Swed from over in Maryland came over. We had Jim O'Rear, who one of the reasons he came up was he was interested in it. We had Leonard Cripple go through. He came up.
I heard about that. Now, didn't he have words with Phil about writing for magazines other than Haunted Attraction?
Not necessarily that. It was submitting articles to as like a blast type of thing. But I think people, it's Phil's right to send it where he wants to. And the second thing is, everybody doesn't read every magazine. So if it's something that's interest of the industry, you can't censor and say where it's going to go. It's got to go any place you want to.
Trust me, there's nothing I hate worse than censorship. You can take that to the bank. But
Howard Stern, no censorship.
Yeah, you got Howard down there? Yeah, I've been a fan of his forever. So who's come to see who else?
That was like the biggest story. This is only our third year at Frightland.
As a board member, what do you think IHA's accomplishments have been thus far? And where do you see it going in the next couple of years?
Well, I think one thing it has done is put more of us in touch. It might have developed naturally through the trade show, but I think it rushed things to a point. Whether it's for IHA or whatever, we all got together at one time for a couple of minutes. So that's one thing that's been accomplished. I know more guys now. I don't care who it is, whether it runs from you, Larry, to some guy haunting his backyard. If you can talk to him, you can learn something.
Sure.
And that's what we set out to do, is learn something. I've learned stuff. I made friends. I made a lot of friends. You know?
That's important too.
That's it. But it's the same thing. I think we're still a social club right now.
Avon, where do you think the future of IHA is?
Well, I think our future lies in us developing credibility. That's what we're doing right now. Making the deal with Transworld is actually funding us to do things. We're not cutting our throats for 2 years, because if you want to do a seminar at Transworld, you can go privately and do it. It's going to cost you money. Same thing. As a haunted attraction operator, I could do it. I'm not going to. I got 3 days there. I want to blow in, let somebody else do it for me, and see it. You got to remember, we're all volunteers. So it goes two ways. Yes, the board makes decisions, but we got to have more input from the members. And we got to grow. The more members we get in, the more we know what we're doing.
Do you find that to be a problem, not enough input from membership?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. People complain when we do something, and they complain when we don't do something.
Yeah, I know several of us have made suggestions through the years.
And it's ironing out. You know, now we got people saying, okay, we open this up, everybody can join. well, maybe we should have different levels where we do have vendors and we've got attraction operators and consultants, separate them a little bit. Because you've got guys, say a vendor was able to get some inroad where you're saying, look, you got to use my product. And he's voting and you get buy his way in. You know, what's that going to do? You got to have some more, and it's just opening up.
I agree. We've talked about that on Hauntworld quite a bit. You know, a guy who decorates his front lawn, for instance, having the same voting privileges as a guy who, you know, puts all his money on the line, puts his reputation on the line to do a show. Why
When we first started, I spoke out against that, and everyone thought I was the antichrist because everybody's like, hey, I give you like $50, I get to do the same thing you do.
Yeah, no, you don't.
It's not like that. No, you need to be like members at large.
All right, 2 or 3 years down the road, what do you envision IHA to be?
A little bit more open, because we are seeing things, people worried about the board being too closed. But here's what's happening. You got 15 people trying to talk to each other saying, watch the overall picture here, watch our response. And by the time we get a consensus, we're 2 weeks down the road and it's old news. So it's got to be more instantaneous. And I don't know, maybe even a paid organization, who knows.
You think the board is too big?
I don't think it's too big because you've got everything from amusement park guys to small haunted house guys on the board. You got it in the assortment, so I think you need that. What if it was the Great Adventure Board? You know, what would happen to us?
Right. Phil, do you have anything to add to that?
No. So much. Speaking of Phil, my partner Phil has been highlighted in Fright Times, Haunted Attraction, and Underground Entertainment as one of the premier prop builders coming up. He has taken everything and producing stuff, adding a twist to it. So far we have like 3 really, I don't want to name names, I don't know if they want me personally using them as an endorsement. But if you get Underground Entertainment or some of the other mags, you actually see endorsements from some of the names in the industries where the whirling vortex he built this year is the best one that people have ever seen. So we're really cranking out some good props. What do you guys say about that?
That's great. All right, Ava, we're going to talk a little about your haunted attraction, Frightland. Different kinds of attractions out there. Some are kind of GP, some are kind of theatrical, some are kind of bloody. Where does yours fall?
I don't want to cop out, but we use a mixture of everything. We're a traditional haunted house. Dead ghosts, maniacs, things slamming down, moving bookcases. So, and the front of our facade says it too. We built a haunted house. I like the old stuff. I don't like the aliens, but we do use it from time to time.
I'm with you.
So, I mean, we're a traditional haunted house.
Now, I understand we have some footage of Frightland. Why don't we go to that, and then we'll come back with Avon and a little more.
Roger Fettig has been working the graveyard shift this week, putting last-minute touches on his ghouls and goblins. He takes the week before Halloween off work to prepare the Fright Castle and considers petrifying people a job requirement.
You want to hear the scares so you know you're doing your job right.
And do you hear them?
Yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what they're coming to see around the next corner, that type of thing.
Today, he took us on a tour of the horrifying hallways to show us his handmade monster creations. So, Roger, this is Dracula's room, the first scary room in Fright Castle. You built a lot of the stuff in here. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the walls were all done by myself. The coffin I also built. The handles are actually from their towel holders that I got, and they just worked great with this coffin idea, and so came out a pretty good room.
Very innovative. Is there anything scary or a surprise in this room we need to know about?
Well, hopefully it is Dracula's room, so we have to have people come in and find out.
Okay.
All right, we're now entering the crypt into our cemetery.
Okay, this guy looks pretty scary, Roger, but he's actually just a bunch of chicken wire, isn't that right?
Chicken wire, burlaps, and paint. One of the easier props I had to build this year.
All right, let's move on into the cemetery.
Okay, this way.
Roger, what's the easiest way or the best way to really scare people in the Fright Castle?
Just through the element of surprise and the things you're not really looking for.
Okay, so like what I just did there by setting something off with my foot?
Yeah, we use motion sensors throughout the castle, and it cuts down on using lots of staff in here then.
But the motion detectors aren't the only frightening feature inside the castle. There's also all sorts of live actors hidden around corners waiting to give you the creeps. Fettig is hoping his hard work will turn into a hair-raising experience for hundreds of people and says he's already dreaming up some dreadful delights for next Halloween. In Tabor, Robin Stickley, CISA News.
You know, this has got to be the most comfortable job that I've ever had. I'm just sitting here in a chair and I'm just talking. It's wonderful. But you know, I'll tell you something, in all honesty, one of the things that I believe in more than anything, rather than just, you know, trying to script, make this very funny, creative video that only lasts 30 minutes or something like this. I believe in communication, one-on-one. I believe on going face-to-face, and I feel like that's the best way to learn something in this business. And I've done that from getting to meet a lot of interesting people through the internet, through these videos. I've gotten cards and letters. I've got to meet people at the Transworld Halloween show, or I've went out to visit other people's haunts, or they've come here. And that's how I've really learned a lot. And so that's just an opinion that I have that I'm passing along to you. And I believe that this video that we're making is all about the content. It's what's being said, not what's, you know, flashy looking, you know, things jumping around the screen and all that kind of stuff. And that is the big thing about Hauntworld.com. It's about content. And I think that's one of the things we've been able to do now. We're providing content not only to the haunted house person, the industry person, but now the consumer with the surveys and the greeting cards and Pumpkin 101 and the message boards for enthusiasts about decorating your yards. And I highly encourage you, and I also would appreciate that you come to Hauntworld.com and you participate in the chats and the message boards, and whenever possible submit articles and information and how-tos and content, because that's how we're all going to learn. And please support Hauntworld.com and the growing industry of Halloween. When more people decorate their front yards better, it helps the haunted house business. Trust me. Now, if you can remember back in the last tape, I talked about being creative, being original, trying to do stunts and things like this. Well, last year we got this guy in St. Louis who works for a TV station, Fox 2. His name is Gazelle, that's his last name. And he is a really wacky guy. He's very creative. And every year when he comes to the haunted house, we talk about ideas on how to shoot the haunted house rather than just walking through the camera with the light on, which doesn't look so great. And this is very important. Like if the news wants to come out and tape your place, that, you know, you can help them. Be creative. Tell them what to shoot and things like this. And in some cases, come up with an idea, a concept for something that would be original. Now, as you know, Blair Witch Project was a huge, huge movie this year for the Halloween industry. And so we decided to do a spoof on the Blair Witch Project for Scream World, and we were looking for the Scream World Witch. And this is what it looked like.
If you're looking for where to go for Halloween, well, maybe Scream World is the place to be. It's the newest haunted house in the St. Louis area, and my good friends Kim and Larry and myself, we went in search of the Scream World witch that is said to haunt this haunted house. Here's what we found. Kim, Larry, do you have me? All right. We're here at Scream World in search of the Scream World witch. It's been rumored that there's a witch in this cornfield, and we're gonna go find out. Wish us luck. All right, that's good.
No,
oh, look at this. Something got a hold of this.
Yeah.
Larry, get a good shot of that.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Looks like
It's AB positive.
chicken.
Yeah. We gotta keep going. Hey, you guys, come here. Look what I found. Come on.
It's like graves, and they're all unopened.
Gosh.
Don't touch it.
Okay, all right. Just stay calm. Where is the map?
I gave you the map.
You had the map, Kim.
I didn't get to argue.
Larry, did she not have the map? She had the map. I know she had the map. And there goes that chainsaw again.
I'm not even doing a documentary anymore, Larry.
No, we're lost thanks to you.
No, thanks to you.
You lost the map. Larry, did she lose the map?
She lost the map, and it was her stupid idea in the first place.
No, this was all of our ideas, and I gave you the map.
No, I have the light. We haven't lost the light.
Whatever.
Now I am really scared. Larry's gone. We've been out here 3 days, and we don't know where we are.
Did you hear that?
What is that? I think that's Larry.
It's in there. Larry!
Yeah.
Come on! You called him! We gotta find him! Larry! What's the matter?
Kim, where are you? I can't see you anymore. Where are you? I can't find her. Kim, I hear you. I'm coming. Kim, Larry, where are you? I'm coming, Kim. Oh, Kim. Larry, what are you doing standing in the corner? Are you in timeout or something? Ah! Oh, is that scary or what? It's Scream World, and it's now open 7 days a week now through Halloween. For more information, you can call 631-8000. That's the haunted hotline. It's a scary place, that Scream World Witch. Of course, the Blair Witch comes out on video today in your local video stores, but that Scream World Witch won't be available for a while. They're still investigating. Also, we've got a special treat for you this morning. We're going to give away 2 passes to each of the haunted houses that are talked about on the haunted hotline. That's TerrorVision's downtown, Scream World that you just saw in Fenton, and of course the Darkness in Soulard. Trivia question is, if you can be the first caller to call in with this answer to this trivia question, you'll win 2 passes to each of those, an $80 value.
Now, wasn't that funny? You know, they've come up with so many spoofs on Blair Witch Project, and it was a hot topic, so we took that hot topic and we tried to run with it, and that's what it looked like. And people just thought that was so funny and so different, rather than just walking through the camera. So try to be creative. If you know somebody at the news or whatever, pitch them on an idea that you have that would make an interesting story, and that might help you with your publicity. Now, moving on, Dr. Lady is back again, as wacky as ever. I mean, this guy is just unbelievable. And so we're going to go back out to Dr. Lady. But one quick thing, Dr. Frightner's still missing. We don't know what happened to him. We think Dr. Speculo has kidnapped him. And we want to know from you, on the next series of Hauntworld surveys, we want to know, do you want Dr. Frightner back? Should Dr. Lady and Dr. Speculo get together and resurrect him somehow? And we need to know that from you. It's very, very important. Because Dr. Frightner, his feelings are hurt somehow. I think Dr. Lady said something to him. So we have a grudge right now against Dr. Lady. But anyway, let's get on to Dr. Lady's haunted house. He's got some more tips and information for you. So let's go on out to Sandusky, Ohio, home of Dr. Lady.
Okay, everybody, we're ready to shoot this haunted house commercial.
David.
Let's get going here.
David.
Wolfie, are you over there? Huh? What?
I'm
What?
not going to be able to remember all that.
Oh, no, I know. I knew you'd never be able to memorize that whole script, so don't worry. I had Wolfie write it all down for you, and I got it right here in front of the camera. You can just read it.
You had Wolfie write it down?
Yeah, he wrote it all down.
David, I'm not going to be able to read.
That's okay. Come on, look, the Shelbyville Haunted House paid for this. We have to do this commercial now. Monster's getting ready back there?
See, here's the paper right here. It's just out of camera range. You'll just have to go from that. And okay, ready?
Under his foot.
Cue monsters. Okay. Shelbyville Haunted House ad. Take one. Action.
It's almost half a bean, kids. Or it's almost Halloween, kids. So ask your folks to take you to the Shelbyville Heated Horse Haunted House for a real good scare at the Shelbyville Hot-Wired Hearse Haunted House. You'll see gory scenes like the tedious coleslaw mascara, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Phantom's unsafe staircase, unmasked scary face, and the hurling woman, the howling wolfman. There's also a cheaply made scenery, or a creepy mad scientist in his laboratory of 100 extension cords, or of horrid experiments with black blood plasma, and our creepy old cemetery. We're open nightly through Halloween at the coroner's at the corner of Main Street and First Avenue. Admission is still only $6 for all ages. And beware for the Shelbyville hackneyed haunted house contains electric shocks, graphic shocks, loud lightning, and slippery peeling stairs, suddenly appearing scares. We're sure you'll come in, drunks. No, we're sure you'll come in droves to the new and improved Shelbyville haunted house, where our monsters will scare the yell out of you. That's what it says. Heavy human beings, or happy Halloween. Is that okay? Can you fix that in editing?
The next day, of course, was monkey stretching day, and since the moose saw his reflection in the frozen custard, they all knew they were in for another 6 weeks of sarcasm. Next up, this.
Hello, Haunt Hats. Laura Lady here. You know, one of the worst things that can spoil the show at a haunted house, besides it being accidentally bombed by NATO jet fighters, is for actors to break character. If a big, scary, ugly monster suddenly stops acting like a monster and tries to flirt with an audience member, or says something silly like hollering to a friend in the audience, "Hey Charlie, it's me!" or is caught off guard sitting somewhere drinking a Pepsi, then the scene loses its whole impact and it fails to scare. Good haunted house actors need to stay in character just like movie actors do. And it's important that they be taught to think of themselves as actors, and whenever they're in front of the audience, to behave at all times in a way that befits the character they're playing. Our next guests are 3 experienced haunted house performers who have each been dressing up and scaring people in haunted attractions for over 15 years. These people are true experts when it comes to scaring audiences. They've been working at it for so long now that when they put on a mask, they really feel like they become that character. So, let's welcome longtime haunted house performers, Johnny Bennett, Tom Drake, and Angela Vale. Come on up, guys.
We interrupt this program to bring you the following special bulletin.
This just in. A cargo plane carrying a shipment of Halloween monster masks
has reported severe engine trouble and they have been forced to jettison their cargo. The plane has last been spotted over the airspace of Horror Hotel News Studio. And in other news...
Oh, hi. Dr. Lady here again at Horror Hotel. Just feeling a little depressed. I was just thinking about what if Horror Hotel doesn't make any money this year? What if none of my friends' haunted attractions make any money this year? What if they all bomb? What if the whole industry dies out? You know, wouldn't it be terrible? Oh, some days I just have these depressing thoughts, but I apologize for appearing negative. Watch this.
Yeah, it is now another Horror Hotel Haunted House safety tip.
And now, a reminder about changing the batteries in your smoke detectors. Change the batteries in your smoke detectors.
This has been another Horror Hotel Haunted House safety clip.
Meanwhile... Yes, as a matter of fact, I have heard about the inside story on the next Star Wars sequel. I understand, for one thing, Jabba the Hutt is not happy at all with the dailies. Now he thinks the footage they've shot makes him look fat. Yeah, well, it's something he's just going to have to get used to. I mean, everybody in Hollywood knows the camera always adds 10 pounds, right? Yeah, this one flashes back to the early history of the character that Peter Cushing played in the 1977 original movie. Yeah, it's all about him back in the days prior to the sex change and letter spacing operation. Yeah, when he was still known as Grand Moff Fatarkin. Right. What, you want to know who performs the operation? Well, OBGYN Kenobi. Sure. Yeah, and that... Oh, I gotta go. One of those video things again. Good evening, haunters. You know, as I look around at the biggest and best and most successful haunted attractions in the industry today, one thing that I can't help but notice, one thing I'm learning, is that success in the haunted house business consists mainly of 10% inspiration and 90% imitation. So, with that in mind, here's another one of my ideas that you can rip off. And it's free. You can't beat that, okay? So, coming up next, instructions on how to make a quick and easy haunted background prop that you can use in any of your sets at your haunted house with your host, Dr. Lady. Thank you, Dr. Lady. You know, folks, mirrors are just sort of inherently spooky and mysterious. And mirrors, I think, are a great thing you can put up all over your haunted attraction just to sort of add to the mood and the confusion, and also tends to make rooms look bigger and creates movement that people will see sort of peripherally off to the side. Anyway, mirrors are just kind of naturally scary to a lot of people, especially if you happen to look like me. But anyway, here's a good way to make yourself a spooky, creepy kind of mirror that you can put up in the background all over the haunted house. First, you get a mirror, and you see the effect here is basically, I don't know, those of you who bathe might have noticed sometimes when you get out of the shower, the surrounding mirrors in the bathroom, unless you're a vampire and you don't have mirrors in the bathroom, I guess then you'd have a bat room, wouldn't you? But anyway, the mirrors in the bathroom tend to have sort of a misty, foggy, steamed over look to them when you get out of the shower. Well, one thing that we found was pretty cool and pretty easy to do, get yourself a mirror, which is always a good thing to start with if you're going to make a mirror. Then, just buy an ordinary pose-a-pister board, okay? Have one of your more artistically reclined employees draw a ghost on it. Just cut it out with ordinary scissors or a hobby knife or whatever, and that's your template, okay? Put your ghost right on there, however you want him, on your mirror, and you may need to put a little bit of Scotch tape here and there to hold it down, or Irish or French tape. It doesn't have to be Scotch necessarily. Spray the mirror just lightly with silver spray paint, not too heavy a coating so it's real solid and metallic looking, but just sort of a light misting of silver, and that will give very much the look of a foggy mirror when you take the template or stencil or whatever you care to call it away. And well, this one here, we put a wood frame on it, and I just very quickly went back and took a brown magic marker
and quickly drew cobwebs all over the frame just to kind of give it a little more personality and make it fit in a little bit with the rest of the surroundings here at the world-famous Horror Hotel. And you can do any kind of shape you like. Here's another one that's kind of a, well, more of a cartoony ghost with a big open mouth was another one. And let's see, here's another one here that's a zombie mirror. You can do whatever kind of a spooky thing you like and put it on your mirror, and it'll be like spooky, you know? So there you have it. Try that. It looks cool. And as a matter of fact, we even sold these at the Horror Hotel gift shop as souvenirs. It's good for that as well. Or if you happen to know any really weird people who would like one of these as a dressing mirror, hey, just get a sheet of poster board, fix it up with a mirror. There you go. All right. And now we take you over to something much more important.
Ja, und now we are bringing you yet another Horror Hotel Haunted House safety tip.
If you're using an existing structure for your haunt, and you have a staircase, as we do here, most likely there will be a light switch at the top and the bottom of the stairs. Do be sure that this switch does not control the lighting on the stairs, because invariably, on your most busy night, some joker will wait until the stairs are packed with people and think it would be very funny to reach over and turn off the lights. Remember, you can never play it too safe.
Man, it's dusty up here. Hello, civilization. I'm the ghost of Horror Hotel, the old spirit that haunts the big dark attic where Dr. Lady and his lovely wife Laura keep many of their strange and creepy belongings in storage. You never know what you might find up here. Costumes, props, ancient remains of unruly teenage customers. Leftover potato salad. That's why human visits aren't normally allowed up here. Sometimes I creep downstairs to scare a mortal or raid the refrigerator. But most of the time, I prefer to just observe the goings-on from up here where it's so nice and cold and musty. I can't help but to eavesdrop on the preceding segments, and I wanted to point out what I think is the most important investment a haunted house can make. It seems like even if you have a big $5,000 life-size display figures of Predator or Pumpkinhead or Darth Vader for someone cool like that, if your crowds are like anything like the ones we attend at a horror hotel, people will glance at those beautiful big props and say, oh yeah, that's nice, that's nice. But then you see a $1.98 rubber lizard or a spider in the corner, and they go out and scream, look, Mom, there's a spider in the corner. Look, Grandma, there's a 2-inch rubber bug. Yeah, look, it's an old ordinary Thor snake. It's amazing. My goodness, it's terrifying. So, keep in mind that humans love to see lots and lots of little crawly things in your nooks and crannies, especially your crannies of your haunted house. You should stock up on spiders, bats, bugs, lizards, snakes, frogs, cockroaches, and occasionally Gila monster, and just put them all over the place. The audience will really get a creepy feeling from seeing little crawly things all around them, and they'll even feel clever for noticing all the little critters. So take it from a guy who's dead. Always decorate yourself with plenty of little creepy crawly bugs and things, for your crowd will love it.
Hellhop, front. Hi, Vadiana. Ah, there you are. About time. Say, we got a couple of problems in some of the rooms I need you to take care of. The ghost in room 2 wants a clean sheet. So take care of that. And the two-headed man in room 7 needs an extra pillow. So you can tend to that as well. Let's see. Oh, and there's also an unauthorized steel cage match taking place in room 9. I need you to clean that up. Oh, and the car fire in room 4 is still going on. Take care of that, if you will. Very good. And let me see. Oh, yeah, just one more thing. The Hungarian gentleman in room 11 just called down from his room. He says he's been up in his room for 4 hours now and his trunks still haven't arrived. So take this pair up to him and see how they fit, huh? There you go. Good job. All right, well, I think that should take care of all the problems at the moment. Now what?
Are you Dr. Lady of the Haunted Hotel?
No, I'm Dr. Lady from Horror Hotel. You must have the wrong address. Yeah. Who could that be? Yeah.
I have a singing telegram for you.
A singing telegram. Well, all right. I hope it's better than the last 4 I got today. So go ahead.
We lost our TV host, Dr. Frightner. Dr. Spectro has taken him away. Please help us to locate Dr. Frightner so we can get rid of Larry K. We hope you can find poor Dr. Frightner and rescue him from Dr. Speculo. You must bring back poor old Dr. Frightner, 'cause Larry Kirshner fills us all with woe. Oh yes, he fills us. Oh yes, he fills us. Well, lots of woe.
So Dr. Frightner's missing. This is serious.
David, he's holding his hand out.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's silly me. I don't know what I was thinking. According to your lifeline, it looks like you're a Stradivarius. I think you'll live to be about 38. You may be already 38, come to think of it. Or maybe you're wearing 38s. Or you in a hurry? We got cookies and Well, you know, this is ridiculous. I mean, serious. Dr. Frightner is missing. We have to find him. We have to get him back, otherwise everybody will be stuck with Larry Kirshner as a host for Hauntworld. We can't let that happen.
So, why don't you just call Dr. Speculo and ask him where he materialized, Dr. Frightner?
Oh, don't be silly. I can't do that. He'd never share patient information with me. It goes against the hippopotamus oath. No, I've got a better idea. Look, Dr. Frightner's a ghost, right?
Is that what he is? I was never quite sure.
It was something like that. He's sort of a ghost. We'll go up to the lab, fire up my brand new experimental outer band individuated ectoplasmic teletracer, and we can hone in on the vibrations of any ghost or spirit in the known universe with that, as long as he didn't materialize in either Abu Dhabi or Constantinople.
Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, come on, to the laboratory. Yes, this shouldn't take long. All I have to do is fire up. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized I was going to do that segment for the haunters who are still awake and listening, wasn't I? Let's have Wolfie do it. He's never busy. So, since I have to be busy in the lab trying to rematerialize whatever is left of Dr. Frightner, I need you to finish the monologue. Just tell the audience, tell all the haunters, that our next tip was going to be to advise them to call their local chapter of the Red Cross and invite them to come and do a blood drive at the haunted house. It gives back to the community. It promotes a good feeling of goodwill. Tell them that. Makes them well-liked in the area. Helps out the community. You know, they'll come, they'll set up a bloodmobile right there where your haunted house is. Be sure and tell them that. Tell them a couple of years ago we had the blood drive and we gave out Horror Hotel candy that we had specially made. Everybody who donated blood got a Horror Hotel candy. And be sure and tell them that. And, tell them that Halloween night is not the best night to have the bloodmobile at the haunted house because people are at their parties and you get all the drunk people who have too high of alcohol blood level to give blood anyway. So tell them, if they could have it maybe the weekend before Halloween or at least a night or two before Halloween. That's much better. And I think that's about it. Can you get all that? But advise them, tell them it's a good idea to have the Red Cross come, offer them your space at your haunted house to do a bloodmobile. Okay. Just so you get that. Okay. Off to the lab. Okay, you getting all this? This is experiment number 1. Our attempt to rematerialize Dr. Frightner from the spirit world. First, we need to transduce the amplitude modifications, reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, be sure the hemodepicemopharon is fully connected and powered up with the trachohomoactimeter, and we should be able to hone in on Dr. Frightner's spiritual essence anywhere in the universe. Almost. Now, if I remember correctly, his atomic structure is somewhere between garden slug and duckbill platypus. Okay, any second now we should have Dr. Frightner's spiritual essence contained in the special glass ghost containment unit. All we have to do is wait and... Do you hear some kind of noise? Okay, I think that should do it. I'm sure that noise we heard was nothing important. Now, according to my calculations, Dr. Frightner should now be fully materialized. My dear, if you wouldn't mind, run up to the roof and bring down my specially constructed all-glass ectoplasmic spiritual containment unit. There's a good little macro.
And so...
That's it, eh? You know, somehow the ectoplasmic containment unit is a little smaller than I remembered it. Still, I'm pretty sure that's Dr. Frightner's essence we've distilled in there. I think we've reduced him to his essential salts and vitamins and minerals and hydropolycarbonated chemicals, but, well, I don't know how we're going to bring him back to his entire 6-foot-tall self. Tell you what, we'll let the people at Hauntworld about it. In my office, in the third desk drawer, right between the box of paper clips and the blowtorch, there should be a box of manila envelopes. Get one of those, stick the jar in it, ship it off to Hauntworld, we'll let them worry about it.
And so, as the Monkey Stretching Day festivities drew to a close for another year, Vadyana, the lovely Russian fishwoman, placed the jar containing the essence of Dr. Frightner into a manila envelope and mailed it back to the folks at Hauntworld. Dr. Speculo was forgiven for his cruel prank against Dr. Frightner by everyone except possibly for Dr. Frightner. Wolfie managed to rid himself of that annoying underwear snuggie and continued jamming in his room till the cows came home, at which time the cows broke his guitar over his head. Dr. Lady continued going around wearing the largest coat in the Great Lakes area, and after seeing himself on tonight's show, vowed to start doing sit-ups. Laura Lady hoped that all her dear friends in the haunted house business would have a fun and successful season next Halloween, especially those who noticed her starring role in the Friday the 13th Part 88 skit. With that, we take you now back to the man who's done for Horror Hotel what Christopher Columbus did for motorcycle maintenance, Larry Kirshner.
Godzilla Japanese version of Hauntworld movie Part 6.
Alright everybody, here's what happened. I shot these segments on, scares in Columbus, but the whole haunted house was turned on and it was so loud you couldn't hear what I was saying, so we're just doing it overdub. As you can see my voice. I'm talking, but it's not matching up, so that's why it's the Japanese Godzilla movie version of Hauntworld 6. What you see here is what we did is we made this shaking door and we put a drop panel in. So basically we've combined two scares here with one. And we put the chains on there, as you can see, which added a nice effect and made it rattle real loud. Now see, the whole effect was people are coming from the backside, you see that back wall back there, and they're coming towards the screen and they're walking through this hallway, and we created these animations where these doors, like opened and shut and the chains clinked up against the doors and everything. Now see, technically what happens is they go through here and they get scared by these doors and they come around the corner and they seen that door that I was just in. And then I was shaking it, so it just kind of gives the effect that it's just another shaking door, but actually there was a drop panel on it. So that's a reinvention of a same old scare. Is my voice matching up? Obviously not. That's why. See, I already talked about that, so I'm just making up words to talk about here. So anyway, that's just Larry Kirshner for you. Just rattles on, never stops talking. All right, now to the next scare. What this is we call them the cove scene. And in our haunted houses in the past, we've created these coves for our gothic sections of our haunted house. And what we've done in the past is, in the darkness in St. Louis, is we've got these characters, right, in these coves, like you see that one there. And then we'll have one cove that is for, you know, an actor, obviously. So you can see another one there. But what we done differently was in our mobile haunted attractions that what we figured was we wanted people to be able to see other people walking on other areas of the maze. And we did that in the darkness this past year in St. Louis when we created our new Gothic graveyard. So I came up with this idea where we'd have double-sided coves, so an actor could literally stand one direction and scare people and turn himself completely around, right? See, I got the scare, and people are coming down the hallway, and they saw that there was a scare there, so I'm going to turn around, and people coming on a whole other area of the maze don't even see what's going on. So I'm just going to turn myself around. Come on, quit talking. You hot bag of air. My God, do I ever shut up? Let's see. Come on, turn around, turn around. They'll walk down the hallway, and they'll get the scare, and then you'll turn around and you'll get them on the other side. It's actually pretty simple, so I'm not quite sure what else I'm saying. I couldn't hear myself. But you can see they walk down the hallway, and here's what we're showing you here is, this is distraction. You see on one side of the maze here, we've got all this eye candy. We got these crypts. So that's on one side, and on the other side is the scare, and that's real important to try to get a distraction on one side and a scare on the other. You want to really give people a lot of eye candy, so when they're walking down a hallway, they really don't know where to look. Do you want to always make them look on their left side or their right side or in front of them? They're expecting it that way. Now, we've all seen drop pictures and stuff like that before, but what you don't see is that in this particular scene, I'm actually standing on a box, so I'm way, way up in the air. And what you have here is, this is an animatronic that we made, which is like a shaking crate, kind of like in the Evil Dead movies. And so they walk in, they set that off, and they're looking at it, and they don't look where I'm at, okay, because I'm hiding behind this wall. But what makes this different is you see how I'm like coming out over the top of them. So instead of being right in their face and being low level with them, I'm actually like 2 feet higher. So I'm like close to the top of an 8-foot wall. So I'm like literally leaning or towering over them, which I saw got a lot of great scares. Now what you're seeing here is a distraction. We're going to get to that. What we're showing you here is these are mummy boxes that we build in our haunted houses. And we normally put these in. But the point of it is that you're walking down this hallway and you're seeing these animatronics on both sides. And the point we're trying to make here is you're actually looking down this hallway and you can see right in front of you is a mummy crypt. Okay, there's a good old gag studio sarcophagus down there at the end of that hallway, and you can see like those crypt guards in the corners that were made by Little Spider. So when you're walking through these mummy boxes, you don't even pay attention to them because you're looking at what's in front of you. People are always looking in front of them. So if you can get people to look in all directions, I mean up, down, and all around, you're going to get better scares. And what I'm trying to say here is, like this mummy guard, when you're walking down this hallway, you're not quite sure if maybe that sarcophagus is going to jump up or one of those mummy guards is going to like leap off those boxes. You have no idea, so the customer going through has no clue what's going on. Now here's another great scare. We've all seen people jumping out of boxes and different various things and whatever, and of course that's what this was actually made to do. But what I decided was that I wanted the actor to be behind it, so the lid would be open, so they're expecting, and in some cases they're kind of like trying to look down into the box, you know, kind of like with their eyeballs just kind of piercing down to see if an actor is going to jump out of there. And of course he doesn't. He comes from behind. And one of the things you notice is that there was a little hole. You can see that, and that's where the actor's looking out of. And you notice how we put that gold just kind of hanging out of it, and that really just makes it look more natural when we hang things out of the boxes and stuff like that. So that's really important. And as you can see in the background, the dragon is a nice distraction. What this is here is a slamming door, whatever, opening door for an actor to come out of, which is very common in most haunted houses. But what the difference is that you've noticed I've got these skeleton coffins. They're lining the walls on each side. So basically people are looking on their left side, their right side, and there's actually even one in front of them. And you can see the skeleton is nicely attached to the wall with cobwebs over the top of them and the whole 9 yards. So that adds for a very nice scare. So that was here our segment on reinventing same old scares. As you can see, here's the Mummy Crypt Hall. And so that's all we got for you on Hauntworld the Movie Part 6 as far as reinventing same old scares.
Right. Hi, my name's Mike. That's a start. Anyhow, I guess doing a little video here for Hauntworld.com. Anyhow, the reason why I'm here obviously is not for the money, because we don't get paid jack. But it's a free workout, and you definitely get to scare the living crap out of anybody who walks by your side. It's not very often that you can walk into a group of 6 foot tall guys and just make them move and scare the heck out of them. So it's kind of weird, after the haunts all over, you walk through them all and you see a group of crowd of people, and you think you could just walk right through it. It doesn't happen, but it's definitely fun. Sliding, that's that's something that definitely brings another aspect to scare. But I'd have to say we have 2 different pieces that we do. Me and my partner, we're twins, and basically this is kind of like we do like a drunken character, and I think you just play off of people's. Play off of people's emotions and kind of their psyche, and really kind of psych them out by the different types of things you say and your character. And we do another piece which is like Spawn. It looks just like Spawn, and we're 2 twin Spawns. So the way we work it is in and out. There's 2 of us, but it makes it look like there's 1 of us everywhere. So that works real good. And just the intimidation factor, staying in character, and coming out of nowhere, sliding across the ground, for 15 feet, and just coming at your feet, and popping up right in front of you. That's I would say that's hard to tell, because you have until you put on the piece, until you actually get into the character. You can have somebody that's really quiet, that's kind of kept to themselves. It seems like they may not have a lot of personality, and as soon as they get into costume, it's like a blind, and it's just like something turns on. It's a switch, and you just switch right into your character. As soon as I walk out with this face and with this natty old wig, I put on a drunken character, and people think that that I'm hammered. So I'll be walking around acting like I'm drunk, singing to myself, talking to myself, and it freaks out people when they really think that you're something that that's not ordinary. So well, the benefit of makeup is all the expressions and being able to talk and really use your character. The disadvantage is, of course, not being able to take it off. When we do our other piece, we have a ball cap on, and all the heat and all the moisture, it stays in there. So it definitely doesn't. It's cool when you can take off a wig, or when you can. Taking off a wig is like taking off your mask, and being able to take off this wig is kind of an advantage. But being able to take off a whole mask, that's kind of relax and breathe, let your skin breathe. That's so I don't know. There's disadvantages and advantages.
I work here at Knott's Berry Farm. I work for wardrobe department. Let me show you some of our costumes. This maze is Dominion of the Dead. It's a black and white vampire maze. One of the things that we look for in costumes, the most effective costume, is a costume that's easily cleaned. We've got things made of muslin, lots of sweatpants. We just go out and we go to the t-shirt outlet, we buy sweatpants there. Lots of robes, lots of rags. Everybody loves the rags. It's a cotton knit called beef tubing. We dye it, we stitch it everywhere. It's the same knit that they staple to the walls in Ghost Town to make it look like spider webs. Another place we get costume pieces are from thrift stores. This costume belongs to one of our vampire brides. We've got tattered costumes everywhere. It was a nice looking wedding dress at one time. We took it, we've added layers here, layers there, changed the trim on it, appliques, beads. Most of our stuff we've either made ourselves or found from thrift stores. A few items have been purchased ready to wear, like the sweatpants. This is quilted foam. It's just one layer of 3-inch foam and 2 layers of fabric. I drew the design on it, went back with the sewing machine, stitched it. Every year we have to go back and repaint it. But it's a great effect. It looks like it's heavy, but ground haunch light. Robes. We do a lot of things out of this monk's blood. We later go back and dye them. Again, the sweats, the t-shirts. One of the biggest factors on haunts in our costumes is that everything is dark. We have a lot of fog. You really can't tell what things look like. One of the most effective costumes that we have for haunt are the Ghost Town street costumes. It's a plain shirt, plain pair of pants, and a vest, maybe football pads, maybe our chest protector. What makes it so good is that so many times you're standing 3 feet from somebody behind them walking down Ghost Town streets, and it's not until they turn around that you realize that they're a monster. Walking through a maze, and you see somebody in a robe, you know they're a monster, you know they're there to scare you. But out there on the streets, people who are out there in street clothes, that's really effective.
Hi, I'm Gary Kassler. I'm the supervisor of wardrobe design and production here at Knott's Berry Farm. And I do most of the work the entire year on all the shows here at Knott's Berry Farm. And our major event is Halloween Haunt. As you can see, behind me are the racks and racks of costumes that we use for the 10 mazes, the 10 walkthrough mazes and ride-through attractions. And each of them are themed, and we change them out once every 3 years or 4 years. So once a maze has run its course of popularity, then we try to change out the theme. I work closely with the entertainment design division through the entertainment office. They come up with the layout of the mazes, the theme of the mazes, and then they bring me in to help design the look and the costumes and the makeup and the masks and the wigs and everything it takes to put all of this together. Behind me are some of the costumes from the Dominion of the Dead. Dominion of the Dead has been around for about 4 years now, maybe even 5. Every year we've had some kind of a vampire gothic maze. Years ago there was something called Lair of the Vampire, and now we've changed it into Dominion of the Dead.
World's Haunted House, and it was a huge hit. Everybody loved all those original latex pieces that they had created and things like this. Well, Ben Armstrong and Billy Messina were gracious enough to send us some more footage of their 1999 show and their 3D haunted house. What they did was they split their haunted house into 2, and I think it was 2 ticket prices, and they advertised it as 2 completely different haunted houses, and I think they made more money that way from what I was told. And so we talked about that in tape 5, that you can get more money out of the customer if the perceived value is higher. So let's take a look at the 1999 version of the Netherworlds. Okay, I think we've shown you about just as much as we can. One of the things we're going to show you right here before the credits is we're going to show you some more footage of the haunted house that Halloween Productions did in Columbus, Ohio. It was a darkness haunted house. We did this Jurassic Labs, and we also did a Terrorvision 3D, they were all very different than the ones we did in Kansas, which we showed you on Hauntworld the movie part 5 or 55 or something like that. I don't remember. But it was called Columbus, Ohio Shocktoberfest at Polaris Amphitheater. It was really neat. They're going to be doing it again next year, and if you get a chance, you ought to go out and take a look. Now, we will be back with a Hauntworld 13 maybe next year, something like this. But one of the things I wanted to mention before I go, I won this award, the Grim Reaper Award, for being the most outstanding haunter in the industry. You, my peers, voted me the most intelligent, brightest star in this business. And I'm so happy to win this award. And believe me, I'm a very modest person. And I can't thank you enough for giving me this award. And so I want to thank a few people. I want to thank Gail, the Fright Mistress from Hauntworld.com. I want to thank John Denley and Rich Half and Jim Kelly. I want to thank Avon Warren. I want to thank the Association of IHA, and I want to thank all the people out there that love Halloween. All the people that have bought this video. What are you doing? I'm not done.
Sorry, buddy. Time's up. We gotta go.
Wait a minute, I won this award.
Your money's gone.
I won this award. I'm the smartest and best haunter in the business.
Sorry, man.
Don't I should get at least a minute to say thank you.
Sorry, man.
Hey, no, wait. Hey, look. I also want to thank my mom. I want to thank my brother. I want to thank everybody out there that supported Hauntworld. I want to thank you for giving me this award. This means more to me than anything. Being the smartest haunter and winning this Grim Reaper award means everything to me. Now, remember, no, don't take the camera. Hey, hold on a second. Who have that camera? Before you guys go, I want to let you know that we will be back on Hauntworld.com. I'll see you on the website. Hey! I'll see you guys later! So there you have it, Hauntworld the movie part 6. We hope you thought that was great. There's better, more exciting videos coming. We're just gonna keep uploading these things. The further we get to Hauntworld the movie part 19, which was the last episode, the footage gets better, the haunt, obviously you're seeing the evolution of the haunted house industry, how like where it kind of started and where it kind of got to in the mid 2000s. And then of course you can pick it all up on YouTube and see where the haunt industry is today. Plus, we will be filming new haunts and uploading them right here. So make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks for watching this video. Until next time, look for Hauntworld the movie part 7 because it's coming up very soon.
For scary videos and more, subscribe to our YouTube page, hauntworld.com.